Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high-level game of StarCraft II. Today we have a barcode versus barcode match, but we do have some insider information as the bottom left barcode is going to be Scarlett and the top right barcode is going to be, well, just another Protoss barcode. I'm not quite sure who this is. It's a very good player though, 6.4k MMR on the European ladder, so somewhere around the top 20, top 25 I think, 6.4k usually is. You see the second pylon go down in the main base. Scout coming out of the Protoss as well. Recently we've seen a bit of a switch from Protoss players into not denying that natural hatchery quite as much anymore, and instead just a lot of later scouts getting slightly more money, not really caring where that initial hatch of the Zerg player is going to be. Scarlett opening up with quick speed as always, as we have a Stargate on the side of our Protoss player. Warp gate is going to be delayed and we will have a chrono boost on that first adept. So wanting to try and deal some damage with that first adept, or at least maybe get some scouting info. Okay, moves it up towards the ramp and shades out. Now this is a very common move that a lot of Protoss players like to do. Because if you walk it up the ramp, the Overlord cannot see whether that Adept Shade is going to get cancelled or not. In a lot of scenarios, Zerg players, they have two Zerglings hiding over here, wanting to run up in towards the main base to see and figure out what's going on. However, if there's an Adept on top of the ramp, of course you're going to lose these two Zerglings, and that sucks. So you're kind of making it a bit of a gamble in the early game for the Zerg. They can only start running in the links by the time your Adept arrives on the other side, but by the time the second Adept is already out. So it's a neat little trick that a lot of Protoss players have been using. A bit of a sloppy play here out of Scarlett. Is going to lose that first drone, lose one Ling as well, but the Queen in the dying seconds of what was possible manages to take out that Adept, gets a single kill here, and at the end of the day losing a Ling and a drone for an Adept I think actually is a fine trade for Zerg, especially if you do not lose any major mining time. No drone pull-aways here in the natural mineral line, and life is all good. Speed finishes up here for Scarlett. She's only on 3 links currently. She's going to be capable of scouting with that, but not much more. We have our Protoss player just getting a Stalker. Probe in the wall here, look at that. Wanting to kill that Overlord and doing a pretty decent job at it as well. At the same time, Adept and Oracle actually just staying at home with this Oracle. I don't completely mind that. It can be tricky if you lose your first Adept to try and take this base. Like imagine that 12, 14 links show up. There's no Oracle, you're never gonna get that Nexus down. But like this, it's going to be very easy. Now that the first two Oracles are out, I'm kind of expecting a move out of these Oracles, and indeed that's what we're going to be seeing. First two Oracles will move out, and there's still no extra links on the way, so there's really no risk involved in this move. Of course, our Protoss player is not aware of that. He doesn't know whether there's more links yet or not, because he hasn't been capable of scouting yet. Scarlett's just spreading out her Overlords, making sure to get the optimal vision against these Oracles, and starts moving the Queens in position. Triple Queens here at the third base. I think there's 2 Queens in the main as well, and these Oracles are not going to be capable of getting a single drone. Double Adept Shade in towards the natural, but links were in position. Scarlett's now going hunting for these Adepts, might actually be capable of catching them. There's no Oracles to try and defend them, and uh-oh, these Adepts might just be in a little bit of trouble. No, says Scarlett, I don't actually want to fight this. I don't think I was capable of getting them. I'm not sure if that was correct. Stasis goes down here in the third base. Another Stasis goes down here at the third. These links almost getting caught, but not quite. 4 drones do end up getting denied their mining time for, I think it's 18 seconds usually. Well, it's always the same, but I believe it's 18 or 21 seconds. I don't actually know the time, how long it takes. It's a very long time if you get stuck. Let me tell you that much. It is not nice. It's a similar experience to sleep paralysis for these drones. They can see stuff happening around them. They can't be harmed, but it's really not cool. Can't move at all. It's pain. Blink and Twilight and +1. Twilight and Forge on the way here. So that the Blink +1 combination coming out. This is something we've been seeing a little more of recently, as Triple Oracles managed to take out 1 Queen. So far the damage, 6 links, 1 drone, 1 Queen. I mean, against a Triple Oracle opener, this is a very decent start here for the Zerg player. We already see Scarlett going up to 78 workers right now. 4th base has finished already. And we're only 6 minutes into this game. We also see a really quick 4th base coming out of the Protoss saying, hey, I like your fast forward, but look at this. And, well, he just this is really quick. That is a 6-minute fourth base for a Protoss player. This is something we don't see every day. And it's also before the gases on the third base. And this most likely means that we're going to be playing a style that Hero has been playing recently. And this is a 2 to 3 Oracle opener into Blink, into Charge, low gas count, high gateway count. And it's almost like playing as a Zerg, honestly. It is very similar, very high production with low tier units, just throwing more and more units at your opponent. And it's very important for the Protoss player here to deny the Zerg eco. So the moment Charge starts and finishes, I think that is going to be just a big moment, especially when Charge finishes, obviously. We see +2, we see Charge coming in. A lot of gateways on the way here as well. We're going to go up to 10, I believe this is. Yep, up to 10 gateways. Still no gases going down. These Stalkers start moving out around. There's a lot of sentries. I don't recall Hero having as many sentries. I only recall Hero having 2 sentries and spending majority of his gas into other things. Mainly more Stalkers. One of the moves that Hero was very fond of, but it is not possible on this map, was blinking in towards the main base. We've seen him use this in the GSL. I think it was against Dongregoo twice. Dongregoo actually managed to win that series, but I also took note of this build and this style and have been playing it a bit. It's a very intense style to play. It's a very fun style to play. There are of course some issues with it, but if you play very quick and if you macro in a clean way, it is difficult for the Zerg to deal with. We see 6 Mutas coming out of Scarlett here, as well as 11 more Roaches. Just sticking... Oh, I love these spine crawlers here. Just, she must have seen the lack of... Oh yeah, she knows that there's almost no gas here. Saying, hey, if there's no gas on these extra bases, that probably means you need to be attacking into me soon, because your army will not get better over time. You're just going to be throwing very poor units at me. I can get spine crawlers, and we kind of see a reversal of the roles here. Usually it's Protoss defending against Ravager Ling Bane, or against Roach Ling Bane, or against Roaches. But this time around we actually see a very passive and a very defensive Zerg player here. It's just, oh my god, this is 27 Zealots moving out right now. Look at this. That is a thing of beauty, and these bad boys are going to start moving towards the 5th base. I'm not quite sure if there's enough in position yet. 16 Banelings on the way will not be in time though, and these Zealots just starts charging in. Scarlett also needs to start dealing with this army here on the left side. I mean, this is a lot of Stalkers, this is a lot of sentries. Blink forward into position, and we see these spine crawlers going down immediately. I don't think this is enough Roaches either. We do still have these Banelings. Where are they? Oh, they're moving towards the 5th base. Zealots, so they split up here, do get controlled somewhat properly. A couple of Zealots will go down against the Banelings, but it's not the end of the world. Does need to continue controlling these Zealots. Will do that indeed. Oracles are going to join up with the Zealots as well. That's a really cute move, of course, as Zealots deal well with Queens and Oracles deal well with everything else that honestly doesn't shoot up. There's still a decently sized army here. Couple of, well, decently sized, there's 3 Stalkers, not a whole lot. Mutas at the same time are dealing damage on the other side. We have Zealots in the natural, Stalkers near the 3rd, and honestly, resource loss wise, this looks good for Scarlett. She has lost less stuff, but she's lost a lot of workers. 50 more workers on the way. She's only on 68 workers currently. And although the Protoss also only is on 68 workers, this is all mineral workers. The mineral income for the Protoss player is absolutely insane. He's doing this off of 4 gas. He's just mining with 12 workers more currently on minerals. And if you're continuously trading, that usually is a good thing. Let me tell you that, Mark. That usually is a good thing. Now, there's still 4 Mutas out, 6 more Mutas on the way. I'm not quite sure how useful more Mutas are going to be here. I feel like there are some static defenses already in most bases. And right now, our Protoss player is also aware of the fact that Mutas are out. One of these Mutas, or 2 of these Mutas even, are going to get sniped before anything big happens. Zealot run by heading towards the 5th base. A couple of Spines are in positions. Mutas are going to help out as well. And the Lynx will show up. Lynx with the +1 upgrade against the +2 Zealots, of course. And it's not going to end too well there for the Lynx most of the time. But there seems to be plenty of Lynx, and, you know, the Spines are there. Ooh, more Mutas actually going to go down here. That's what, 2-3 extra Mutas falling right now. Kind of painful. This is a pure Stalker army. 34 Stalkers at this point. Extra gases have been taken. We're currently on 6 gas for the Protoss player. Still 5 bases as well. So it's 5 base versus 5 base. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Protoss is the first player to actually take a 6th. It seems difficult in this scenario for Scarlett to take a 6th. Her creep spread has been pushed back. pretty much at large. We now have a bailing run by in towards this 5th base. No response whatsoever out of the Protoss, and all of these workers are gonna be going down. That is a very big deal. At the same time though, a fight in the middle going the way of the Protoss player. So Scarlett winning the eco war, but the fight in the middle gets won by the Protoss. And this gives the Protoss a little bit of well, some options actually. It gives him the option to perhaps just do it. Oh my good lord, just walk through all of these piles. A straight up attack here. I don't actually think there's enough Scarlett. There is not enough Zerg, and there's just too much Protoss here perhaps. Of course, with the +2 upgrades, it's also going to help, because all of Scarlett's units only have 1 upgrade. No carapace upgrades, +1 on the Lynx, +1 on the Roaches. Now, Protoss temporarily is going to get pushed back. Probably needs to start retaking this 5th base as well right now. This is a big army. This really is a big army. We have 26 Stalkers, 29 Stalkers, 9 Zealots, a couple of Mutas in the natural still going ham. I actually do not believe that Scarlett can hold this 5th base, and we get a reset base count of 4 versus 4 right now, 12 minutes into a game with almost constant fighting. This feels like a TVZ, just constantly, you know, defending the creep, except the unit composition isn't very TVZ-like here for the Zerg, and well, Stalkers also aren't a Terran unit, so that's another big tip-off there. We now have the Pathogen Glance on the way, so that's the energy upgrade for the Infestors here, making it spawn with 25 more energy. This will allow the Infestors to cast a fungal the moment they come out of their little cocoon. 8 more Mutalisks, and my question is, how good have these Mutas actually been? Like, they've killed a bunch of workers, but I feel like getting more Banelings or actually getting these faster Infestors might just be slightly more useful. I think there's an initial use to the Mutalisk of getting a little bit of control and getting a little bit of time for the Zerg, dealing some counter harass. But at this point, I mean, there's +3 Stalkers already out. These Mutas have no upgrades whatsoever. A single warpin of Stalkers is always going to deal with Mutalisk, and especially if it's known that there's Mutas out on the map, I just don't think they're that good. And yeah, here we go. This is what? 7 Stalkers? Okay, well, it's a little more than 7 Stalkers right now. They're just going to be blinking forward saying, hey, this is thanks for the Mutas, I guess. That's 400 resources that I get there in less than 3 seconds. It's just a good trade. First Infestors now are on the way. We have +3, no Adrenal Glands yet. I would not mind seeing Adrenal Glands as one of the fast upgrades. I mean, that's the upgrade that provides probably the most benefit out of any upgrade here for the Zerglings. Oh, quick blink back. Mutas going in for a flank. Doesn't quite work though with Mutalisks. 2 Mutas end up falling, or at least 1 Muta ends up falling at the same time. We have a big army being sent in towards this 3rd base. We're still 5 base versus 5 base. What is this? Oh, more Banelings heading towards the 5th. So we have a bit of a major engagement here, and well, this flank doesn't completely work out for the Protoss player. But don't forget, this is +3 against just +2. +2 on these Roaches, +2 on the Lynx as well. Banelings are going to continue their journey in towards a mineral line, as Scarlett is controlling those quite well. But the supply is falling right now for Scarlett, only on 63 workers against the 44 of the Protoss player. I'm not quite sure if there's enough units here that can truly tank. These Ravagers are good and the Biles are useful. There's 3 Stalkers taking out a base here. Big Zealot warp in though, and I just don't think there's enough Roaches. Army supply is still in favor of Scarlett. These Banelings killed absolutely every single worker that they could, but the 3rd base is going to fall. These Stalkers are going to continue trading. Blink in right now, I think with the help of some drones and the help of, well, these Infestors tanking a couple of shots, that Scarlett will hold for now, and we're pretty much in a complete reset scenario. Income is extremely even. Slightly favored for the Protoss for some reason. I think there's some oversaturation going down somewhere. It has to be. Because there's just more workers for Scarlett, and there's also, well, yeah, the same amount. No, actually, there's 5 bases for the Toss. Oh, wow. He can chrono out workers real fast here. 5 workers at a time. Well, it doesn't have the money to actually produce 5 workers at the time. That's a little bit unfortunate. Stalkers are going to be used to try and kite these Roaches, get some free damage, but instead they will just trade 1 for 1. The creep spread still is looking very poor, because Queens haven't been rebuilt in a while, I think. We haven't seen any real new tumors being added, as I say that. We see these tumors on the right side actually putting in some work. We have 1 active tumor on the left, 1 more tumor over here as well. So there are some options here for the Zerg players still to get that creep out on the map. These Stalkers are looking for some free damages again as well. Staying out a couple of drones. Need to be careful, of course, of the Fungal. Fungal gets missed though. Good attempt, but these Stalkers probably will think twice about standing on creep for a little longer. Stargate gets, well, pooped on by the Overseer. That means that this Oracle is going to be delayed by a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Right now our Protoss player back into honestly pretty decent shape, at least economically. I'd really love to see a 6th base at some time. I'd love to see a Dark Shrine as well. I think if a game is this chaotic, even though there are spores already, just having a Dark Shrine defensively, standing in a DT in a base, like, don't forget that one of the big things of the DT isn't necessarily that it doesn't get spotted when it's in the mineral line, but the fact that it can get to a mineral line without being spotted. That is really the bigger thing very often. Zerg players, and I think most pros in general, always have very good map vision. So sending in a Zealot run by in towards a base to kill drones can be close to impossible. However, because the DT doesn't get seen on the minimap and you need detection in like key locations to spot them from coming in, if you get a DT in a mineral line, they're probably going to get 5-6 workers no matter what. And in such a low eco scenario, I think that can be really useful, especially if you control it well. You get like 4 or 5 workers, then you run it in towards a main base. The Zerg needs to send a bunch of units there, needs to send over an Overseer. You have a lot of Stalkers that can snipe Overseers. It just makes the entire process really scary for the Zerg. I think that's kind of here what this Protoss is wanting to do. Oh my god, you can't be serious. Huge fungal growth on all of these Zealots right now. And, well, not all of them will go down, but that was not how this Protoss player wanted to start this fight. Scarlett wants to continue how this started though, says, hey, I'm gonna go kite downwards, or at least attack into you, then kite back towards my creep, towards my bases. Gets a couple of decent trades, honestly, of course, with these roaches. Infestor's a little bit out of position though. This is sloppy, because these Infestors are kind of key in keeping this army just, you know, from moving, basically. There's also a lot of Neurals available. Just saw Neural Parasite being researched. There is a bunch of Archons, which are prime targets, of course. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, no, 3 Archons, and all of them are going to get taken out right now by these roaches. Could even help a little bit more in this fight, tanking some damage. Do we have some Fungal still available? The answer is yes. One Fungal is going to hit 2 Stalkers. It's funny that off creep, these fights really are favorable for Protoss majority of the time. Toss also getting a 6th base right now and trying to fight against Scarlett's 6th base. We have Disruptors on the way. So Toss with the transition into Disruptors is going to make it really difficult here for Scarlett to have cost-efficient fights from this point on. And if Scarlett isn't fighting cost-efficiently, well, we can take a look at the mineral income, and Toss is just up 600-700. That's going to be even more once he takes this base. Scarlett's still not mining from this 6. This, however, is a pure Stalker army with just Zealot. So it's an army that does not have a very high gas value. And oh my god, big fungal. They're hitting a lot of these Stalkers right now. But yeah, if you have low gas value armies, they do not trade as well. We really need to wait for these extra Disruptors to kind of enter the fray. Disruptor shot's going to kill 3 roaches. 2 Disruptors is not enough though. I think 4 or 5 Disruptors, it starts becoming really scary, especially because a large part of Scarlett's army consists of Infestors, which are known to be god-awful against Disruptors, because they kind of clump up. They're always in one position in a way. Like they you know, if they neural, they can't move, so a Disruptor shot can always shoot them. And I kind of like where this Protoss is going. I also like where Scarlett is going with the Vipers. Obviously the correct call against these Disruptors. Zealot run by is gonna get caught. There's no continued upgrades going down though for this Protoss player. No shield, no armor, nothing. Adrenal Cleanse finally is starting. That is really late though. And almost too late, I feel like. I think we've been on high for the past 5-6 minutes already. Now it has been a chaotic game, so of course we can forgive Scarlett for that error, but still it is a little bit painful. None of these fungals are quite landing. That's a big Disruptor shot. I think he could have gotten way more there. I think that had potential to hit the jackpot. 5-6 Infestors, and if you hit 5-6 Infestors here, this is a very different game. We have Corruptors on the way. Is there a Greater Spire? There is a Greater Spire. Scarlett is setting up for a Broodlord push here, almost like in Wings. You know, Roach Infestor into, well, Vipers weren't a thing back then, but just into those Broodlords. And this actually has some real potential. This is not an army that deals well with air, although there are a lot of Stalkers. This is an army that well, I'm not quite sure what it deals well. I think it can win a ground fight as long as there's no big numbers of banelings. These banelings are running in towards this base. Hello, can the zealots move away? Oh, well, I guess not. Instead, the banelings just kind of connect with that nexus there. We have a big run by out as well. Is there anything in the wall? Well, a couple of zealots being warped in, just as I say it. There wasn't anything in the wall before that, so... Oh! Catches the Infestor, very cool. Scarlett looking perhaps for a neural on one of these disruptors. Kind of doing what you do with Ghost in ZVT as well. You neural one Ghost, EMP the others. That is not going to be it for now, though. Ling run by, heading in towards the natural once again. Zealots will start connecting with a lot of these Lings. And I think this is a fight that the Lings cannot win. These Lings are basically being thrown away right now. Where are the Broodlords being morphed? Are they being morphed? Yeah, we have 5 Broodlords out already. 4 more Corruptors out as well. This should be a very good fight here for Scarlett. It of course depends if these Disruptors connect in a big way and the Stalkers can blink under. There is some potential. There's also Vipers though. Yeah, these Fungals are just hitting absolutely different. Disruptors are gonna get taken out. Biles landing on absolutely everything as well. Good Stalker flank there, trying to take out some of these Broodlords, but it's not quite going to be enough. There's a lot of cash in the bank still for Scarlett, and it seems like the key for Scarlett in this game was just to kind of slow down the game and say, hey, you want an active game with... Oh my god, that was big. That actually was really big. That was a very big hit. I actually think that the Protoss can almost jump on this. If he was fast enough with the blink there. Oh, there's a lot of Broodlords. Fungals going to connect with 2 chunks of Stalkers. There's still a lot of Fungals remaining as well. I actually don't think this is going to be enough for the Protoss. I thought that it was possible as well, but these, what is this, 9 Broodlords in the back, 8 Broodlords in the back. Just going to be a little bit too much. One more big Disruptor shot's going to clear 2 of these Infestors. But yeah, what I was saying is that Scarlett just kind of stabilized in this game, and the moment there weren't any run-bys happening anymore. The moment she just got to build her own army, we kind of got to see the weakness of this gateway army. It just does not scale well into a late game. You need to continuously be fighting small parts of the army, preferably hatchery tech units like roaches and banelings without any support of infestors, without any support of lurkers, preferably without any broodlords as well. And now Scarlett is just pushing forward and says, it is my turn to kill you. And it's actually almost like a reverse CVP. Scarlett spends her entire game defending and ends it with one big push, rather than what a Protoss usually does, is defending with Archon, Zealot, Immortal Storm, and then once you survive, you try and kill your opponent. GG gets called, and Scarlett indeed wins the game in a very solid fashion as well. Cool game. From the ladder. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I for sure did. Thanks all so much for watching. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much, and bye bye.